Hi everyone, it's Ed from Runnable, and this is my head-to-head review of two of the best super shoes available on the market and two of the lightest super shoes as well. The ASICS Metaspeed Ray Tokyo that's just come out, and then a shoe that's been out for a little time now, the Adidas Pro 4. So in this video I'll be reviewing these side by side. I'll be letting you know how they stack up against each other. We'll go through some key categories like stability, speed, durability, price and value. And then overall we'll come up with a decision of which of these two is the winner in this head-to-head review of these two super shoe Goliaths. Stay tuned, watch some run footage first of all. Stay tuned and I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Hi everyone, it's Ed from Runnable again. I've got another head-to-head shoe comparison to do for you. These are two shoes that I really like. Two soft shoes again, a bit like with the Endorphin Elite 2. These are like what I would class as on the softer side, but really nice super shoes. Both really viable options for your kind of half marathon, marathons. Maybe even short distance like 5-10Ks, and they are, yet again, we've got the ASICS Metaspeed Ray Tokyo and we've got the Adidas Pro 4s on my feet. So yeah, comparable shoes. Let's just see head to head what they feel like, how different they feel, or what similarities there are, and whether, you know, I get the feeling that one would be better than the other. And we'll do a full review, a complete head-to-head breakdown of both shoes, and at the end of it we'll decide which of these I think is the better bet for your 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, marathons. I'll see you later. Bye bye. Okay, so on my left foot I've got the ASICS Metaspeed Ray, on the right foot I've got the Adidas Pro 4, and step in feel, both have got lovely uppers. The uppers, but on both, very lightweight, wrap around the foot nicely. It is noticeable that with the Pro 4, there's a little bit more pressure on my big toe than with the Ray. The Ray, although narrow like the Pro 4, doesn't taper in quite as much. So you've got a little bit extra room there in the toe box. That said, I did go up half a size in the Ray, so I've got a little bit more room to play with in general, but it just feels slightly less snug and slightly like more room for my toes to splay in the Ray than with the Pro 4, which right at the tip narrows a lot. You might want to go up half a size in the Pro 4. I think I should have done, just to give me that extra room. Right, we're going up a hill now. Like I said, both lovely and light. Both of them got really nice grip, outsole. Like I said, the uppers are really two of my favourite uppers out there. Very similar in some ways. The material they use is really lightweight, translucent, and very breathable, and you just don't really notice you got them on. Apart from that slight toe pressure in the Pro 4, and that's partly to do, it's got like a toe guard at the bottom there, or at the top where your toes are, and that toe guard can be a little bit abrasive. Yeah, similar thing with the Endorphin Elite 2 actually. With the Ray there's nothing there, so obviously it's not going to help with durability, but it really feels nice on your foot not to have something more abrasive. So that hill was pretty easy in both. Legs are feeling a bit shitty today, excuse my French. not as good. So yeah, I'm not expecting me to do hills very well, but that felt alright. So going downhill now, going to see what the grip's like. I'm not expecting any issues from these two shoes in terms of outsole grip. The Pro 4's got one of the best grips out there with this continental rubber. There's a little strip of that, and then the light traction, which is really a really good grippy compound, hard wearing as well. And with the Ray, you've got less rubber coverage, but where it does cover, you covers all the key points, apart from if you're a heel striker, there's not much on the heel, right, which is a bit of an issue generally with that shoe. So going down the hill, both super grippy. Again, because I'm going down, I feel a little bit more in the toe area with the Pro 4. So I definitely feel like some of you might want to go up half a size with the Pro 4. Now, both have got this, we can talk about midsole for a minute. Both have got quite an early stage rocker, so you get a nice roll through from both. But even though I'm pretty sure they've got similar sort of drops, so there should be a similar amount of stack height under the forefoot for me. It just feels like the Ray has got more foam under the forefoot. The foam is obviously different, both shoes. You've got the aliphatic TPU, sorry, in the FF Leap, in the Ray Tokyo, the FF Leap foam, and then obviously in the Adidas Pro 4 you've got the new TPE foam, this new light strike foam, which is, but in both cases, in the Ray and the Pro 4, super soft. But just showing you how soft the Ray is, it's making the Adidas Pro 4 feel a bit firmer. To me, it isn't a firm shoe, and that's partly to do with just how soft the Ray is, partly to do with the foam itself, obviously different compounds, but also I feel like the plate in the Ray is kind of a bit more of a flexible plate, a bit more lightweight, so I gauge it, but it's not as rigid as those rods in the Pro 4. So the Pro 4, you get a feeling, if you're landing in the forefoot, you get a feeling of a bit more stability, but it's slightly slappier. Not much, but slightly slappier. Whereas I'm not really getting a slap at all when I land with the Ray. I'm getting a nice roll through, nice pitter-patter roll through. It's encouraging me to speed up. And increase my cadence. Whereas a Pro 4, although it does encourage me to increase my cadence, I feel like it's also trying to get me to extend my stride and push off a bit more with my toes. So I don't feel like I'm getting as much sinking as I did it in the Endorphin Elite recently in either shoe, so that is good for me. I think you'll get less foot fatigue in both of these shoes. You definitely feels like that you're getting a better roll through in both of these shoes. So I like the geometry in both of them. I think it encourages that quick turnover, that nice quick transition when you land, and they're both trying to tip me forward. If anything, the Pro 4 has got a slightly more aggressive rocker. Both got early stage rockers. Hey, you're right. But I think both. I really like both of these shoes, if I'm being honest. Two of my favourites. I could definitely see myself running a marathon in both of these shoes. But when you run a marathon, the downside is when you get tired, you start moving backwards. So if I move backwards a bit when I land, you start to see the problems with these shoes. So with the Ray, it just feels wobbly, and with the Pro 4, you get this weird splaying going on, which is taking all the life out of my run. So again, you heel strikers have been penalised a bit with both of these shoes. Unless you can just lightly tap your heel and get a quick transition, I don't think these are going to be the best for you heel strikers, unfortunately. But if you're landing further forward, both of these are lovely, lovely shoes. Great racing options. I feel like it's a difficult choice to make. I would say, let's get the Ray feels slightly bouncier and maybe a tad quicker, just a tad quicker. I love the foam, this aliphatic TPU. I get such a good energy return out of this foam. So yeah, for me, this is a really, really nice experience of riding there. Going up the hill now, both feel great actually. So lightweight. Similar sort of engagement from the plate in the Ray to the rods in the Pro 4. And quite similar shoes in many ways. More similar, the Ray is definitely more similar to this shoe than it is to the Endorphin Elite. So just to summarise, I feel like the Ray's a little bit bouncier, a little bit softer, a little bit more forgiving. The upper's slightly wider in the toe box, but there's not a lot to choose between these two shoes, and both really viable options for any kind of marathon, half marathon, 5, 10k that you're looking to do. Hope that's useful. See you soon. Bye bye. Let's go through some key stats around these two shoes. So let's start with the Ray. So as you know, it's a super light shoe, 133 grams in my UK size, 9.5. I went up half a size in this shoe, mainly because it's got quite a narrow toe box. In the Adidas, we have a heavier shoe at 205 grams in my UK size 9. So this is a half a size smaller, but yet a good 60 grams heavier, which just goes to show how light the Ray is. It's no slight on the Adidas shoe, it's just shows what an incredible job ASICS have done to get this shoe down at that 133 gram mark. In terms of stack height, it's very similar. In the Ray, you've got a 39.5 in the heel, you've got a 34.5 in the forefoot, giving you that 5mm drop. In the Adidas shoe, you've got 39 in the heel. This time you've got a 6mm drop, so you've got 33 in the forefoot. So slight differences there. You've got slightly more foam in the forefoot in the Ray, and you've got slightly less foam in both the forefoot and the heel in the Adidas shoe. So when you actually run in these shoes, you do feel a little difference, and we'll talk about that in a bit. The Ray definitely feels like you've got more foam under your foot, that's for sure. Okay, if we go through the uppers, both have got really nice light micro mesh uppers. Very similar in many ways. There are some key differences though. So the Adidas shoe tapers in more at the toes, and it's got this more rigid toe cap here. So what you end up with the Adidas shoe is getting a bit more pressure on your toes. I wish I'd gone up half a size in this shoe. I went for 9, my normal size. Because of this, I wish I'd gone up half a size. I've no issues with the ASICS shoe. I did go up half a size, but this is a lot softer material. You get a lot less toe rubbing in general with the ASICS Metaspeed Ray. So that's one advantage of the upper. The next advantage is the laces. You've got terrible laces here with the Adidas shoe. Very stringy and cheap, very narrow, and they bite into your top of your foot. Even though there is a little bit of padding on the collar, heel collar, because these are so narrow, they really do bite in a bit when you cinch them tightly at the top of your foot. So that's the downside, the laces. With the Ray, you've got some of the best laces out there, this saw, ridge lace. The downside with the Ray is more on the tongue. The tongue's very thin, very cheap, and very flimsy. And even though with this tongue, even though when you cinch the laces you don't get any lace bite, it's just very hard to keep this tongue in place. So that's the downside with the Ray in terms of the upper. Both have got similar setups back here at the heel. We've got a semi-rigid heel counter in the Adidas Pro 4, a semi-rigid heel counter in the ASICS shoe. You've got slightly more padding, let me show you, in the heel collar in the Adidas shoe and in the heel. And in general, lockdown is similar in these two shoes. Not perfect, but pretty good. So all in all, I like both of these uppers. Just because of the laces, I'm going to give it to the Ray. I think, for me, laces are important, particularly if they're bad laces. That means they can cause real problems with lace bite, and that's what I do get with these laces in the Adidas shoe. You can of course swap them out, but it's a bit annoying to have to do that. So well done ASICS for providing decent laces. Just work on the tongue, and then Adidas, you need to sort these laces out, because they're pretty much the worst laces on all the super shoes. So that is the upper. The only other thing I would say, slightly better structure to the Adidas upper. You can see here, you've got a little bit of a structure, and you've got this light lock material here to add a bit more structure and wrap around the foot. So in terms of stability features for the upper, the Adidas shoe slightly wins out. So all in all, I'm going to mark these 4.5 out of 5 for the Ray. I'm going to give it 4.5 because it just is the laces, and to be honest, I'm not going to mark it down for that because you can swap them out pretty easy. So both great uppers, both score 4.5 out of 5. Listen, all you other brands out there, these two uppers, including the Puma Fastar, that's the way we want those uppers, right? We want these really lightweight uppers. We do not want this strung upper like we've got in the Prime X strung. Let's get them nice and soft and lightweight. Just with the Adidas, just be careful with this toe guard. It's causing a lot of people problems with foot rubbing. So that's the upper. Outsole now, clear winner here. The winner is the Adidas shoe. This light traction rubber is grippier than the ASICS rubber that we have here. It's also got far more coverage than the ASICS shoe. You can already see that the ASICS shoe is starting to get chewed up. I've only done 2 races in this, only done about 50k in total, and it's starting to wear because there isn't enough rubber coverage. Where with the Adidas shoe, where I've done far more miles, probably done close to 100k in this shoe, and it's holding up really well, and that's because it's covering the whole base of the outsole. It's also a better material for gripping. So all in all, I'm going to give the outsole for the Adidas shoe, let's give it a 4.5 out of 5. And for the ASICS, because of the durability issues, because of the lack of rubber, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. The one thing to note with the Adidas shoe is this cavern here, and that does cause some splaying. So if it wasn't for that, I'd probably be giving this a 5 out of 5. But that is causing some issues with when people heel strike, it splays. Midsoles now. You can see the geometry of both shoes, both got early stage rockers, both got aggressive rockers. So if you like that feeling when you land of rolling through, you're going to like both of these shoes. Slightly more foam under the forefoot of the Ray. It does feel like that as well. It feels like you've got a lot more wedge under here than you have with the Adidas shoe. With the Adidas shoe, you've got rods, as you can see poking through there, and it's a lower configuration. You know, it's not low by any means, but it's slightly lower than the plate, half plate, teardrop plate that you've got in the Ray. You do feel both, you engage both. I'm a light runner, and that's not often the case. Sometimes I don't engage the rods or plates in the super shoes because I'm not heavy enough. In both of these shoes you do. I get quite a lot of spring from both as they snap back, and generally both foams, the TPE in the Adidas Pro 4 and the aliphatic TPU that are in the Ray, are fantastic foams. It's hard to split them. I just maybe slightly go with the Ray. I just feel like it's got that magic, that geometry, that huge stack of foam. You really do feel the softness of the shoe, but you do feel it rolling through as you land, and you get such a good energy return. Okay, let's talk about stability now. Right, neither of these shoes are stable shoes. I don't think either of these can even be classed as neutral shoes. There is one clear winner though in this category, and that has to be the Adidas Pro 4. And these are the reasons. A, it's got a wider landing base in the forefoot. B, it's got better grip than the ASICS shoe. The ASICS shoe's not too bad. C, it's got more structure to the upper to keep your foot more locked in, less likely to move over. Like I said, it's wider as well. So with the Ray, for instance, it does feel like if you've got a wide foot like me that you're coming off the platform a bit when you're going around corners. The Adidas shoe is much better for doing those tight turns than the Ray. So all in all, stability wise, the Adidas shoe is a clear winner. I'd probably give this 3.5 out of 5, and the Ray would be somewhere at 2.5 out of 5. It's not a stable shoe. In fact, the only way you can feel stable in this shoe is if you land right up here somewhere like I do and get the widest point of the shoe. Otherwise it can feel quite unstable, and even for me landing up here going round tight corners, this feels incredibly unstable. So it's not good for those courses where you're having to turn sharply. That's stability. Durability now, another clear winner, and again it's the Adidas shoe, and that's mainly because of this rubber coverage, this light traction coverage throughout the whole of the underside of the shoe. Whereas with the ASICS shoe, you've got lots of exposed foam that you can already see is getting completely worn away. There's absolutely nothing going on in terms of foam degradation in the Adidas shoe. And I've only run 50k in the Ray, whereas with the Adidas shoe, I've run over 100k. So clear winner with the Adidas shoe. What would I score it as? Probably Adidas shoe. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. I think it would be fairly durable as super shoes go. And with the ASICS Metaspeed Ray, it's again 2.5 out of 5. Probably a 2, to be honest. You do not buy either of these shoes expecting a durable shoe, but with the rubber coverage and with the fact that the shoe itself feels a little bit more substantial on your foot, I think the Adidas shoe is going to wear a lot better, and for that reason alone win the durability category. Let's talk about speed now. In this category, I give the ASICS Metaspeed Ray the edge. I just think it's slightly quicker over those shorter distances. Ironically, I have run faster in the Adidas Pro 4, but that said, I just get that feeling that I can, if I was on top form, I think this shoe, with the bounce, with the compression of the plate, with this FF Leap foam, which I think is incredible, I think I could absolutely fly. And I'm not quite at peak fitness yet. And when I do get to that point and I run a 5K in this shoe, I think I could PB. Whereas with the Adidas Pro 4, I think I've reached a kind of threshold where I won't get much quicker in this shoe. So I kind of know what to expect. So overall, I'm going to give this to the ASICS Metaspeed Ray. I would say this is a 5 out of 5 for pure speed. And the Adidas shoe, I'm going to mark it somewhere about 4.5 because I think it's still a speedy shoe. It's just not quite up there with this shoe. Okay, what's it good for? Now, I've run a half marathon in the Adidas Pro 4, a 20 miler in the Ray. Both can do long distance, no problem. Both would be good for marathons. But if I had to judge it over the few core distances, I would say the Ray would be better at 5 and 10K, a bit quicker, a bit nimbler, as long as the course doesn't have too many turns. I think they come together at the half marathon point where I think both would be pretty effective. And in terms of the marathon, pretty close. I'm just going to edge towards the Ray. I think it's lighter. And as long as, again, the marathon doesn't have loads of turns, it's one of those big city marathons where you've got a lot of room to maneuver. I would say that the lightness of this shoe and the foam that compresses and decompresses so well and the geometry just give it the edge over the Pro 4. But the Pro 4, I think, is right up there with one of the best marathon shoes you can possibly buy. And I think that just shows how special I think the Ray is over that kind of distance. So that's what it's good for. Right, so overall, which of these two shoes am I going to suggest you buy if you had to choose one? And it might surprise you, but I'm going to go with the Adidas Pro 4. For these reasons, I think it's a more versatile shoe. I think more people can use this shoe. I think it's more stable, more durable. I think the upper is really, really nice. I think the upper in the Ray is nice as well. I just think this one's more structured, so again, helps with stability. I think this can cater for more foot strikes. I think with the Ray, you have to land where that plate is, which means that half the shoe is really a no-go area. This shoe costs £45 more than the Adidas shoe as well, which I think is extreme. So all in all, with all that in mind, I'm going to say today's winner is the Adidas Pro 4. Absolutely love this shoe. You might think that's surprising because of how much I love the Ray. If I was making this choice on my own, which I'm not, I'm making it for all of us, I might pick the Ray. I like it that much. But I understand how unversatile this shoe is, how inflexible this shoe is, how undurable this shoe is. That word? Not durable this shoe is. And for those reasons and those reasons alone, I'm going to say today's winner is the Adidas Pro 4. If you do have a spare £265 and you're a forefoot striker, you're lightweight and you're nimble, you might want to have a go at this shoe because it's incredible. But other than that, I think I would go with the Adidas Pro 4. I hope that makes sense. I hope this has been useful. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Ring the bell. And also, just leave any questions you've got in the comments. You know that I get back to you in the comments. I think with this kind of thing, it's always important that there's some engagement with people who watch and take the time to comment. So if you put a comment down, I'll definitely answer it. And that's all I want to say today. I love you all. See you soon. Bye-bye.